As I sit in the cozy Parisian café, I can't help but feel a sense of contentment wash over me. The sun is shining through the large windows, casting a warm glow on the room. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and croissants fills the air, making my mouth water. I take a sip of my café au lait and close my eyes, savoring the rich, creamy flavor. When I open them again, I notice that the café is starting to fill up with a mix of locals and tourists. I watch as a group of friends laugh and chat over their pastries and coffee, and a couple sitting at a nearby table gaze into each other's eyes over a shared croissant. As I look around, I realize that this is exactly what I needed, a chance to escape the hustle and bustle of my everyday life and just relax in the moment. I decide to stay a while longer, ordering another café au lait and pulling out my journal to jot down some thoughts and ideas. The hours seem to fly by as I sit and write, lost in my own little world. As the afternoon turns to evening and the café begins to empty out, I reluctantly gather my things and make my way to the door. As I step out into the cool evening air, I can't help but feel grateful for the chance to spend the day in such a wonderful place. I make a mental note to come back to this cozy Parisian café as soon as I can, knowing that it will always be a place of comfort and inspiration for me. As I walk home from the café, I can't help but feel a sense of nostalgia for the city of Paris. The charming streets, the delicious food, the rich cultural history, it's all so magical. I decide to take a leisurely stroll through the city, taking in all the sights and sounds around me. I pass by quaint boutique shops selling handmade jewelry and artisanal chocolates, and stop to admire the intricate architecture of the old buildings. As the evening wears on, I find myself drawn to the banks of the Seine River. I sit on a bench and watch as the sun sets behind the Eiffel Tower, casting a warm glow on the water. I feel a sense of peace wash over me, and I realize that this is exactly where I belong, in this beautiful, vibrant city, surrounded by art and culture. As I sit there, I can't help but think back to my time in the cozy Parisian café. It was such a simple, yet deeply meaningful experience, one that I will always treasure. I make a promise to myself to come back to Paris as often as I can, to continue to explore all that this city has to offer and to create new memories in all of its charming corners. As the night falls, I decide to head back to my apartment. But before I do, I make a stop at a small bistro for dinner. I sit at a table outside, under the twinkling lights, and order a glass of red wine and a croque monsieur. As I eat, I can't help but think back to my time in the cozy Parisian café earlier that day. It was such a perfect moment, one that I wish I could freeze in time. But I know that life is all about experiencing new things and making new memories, so I try to push the nostalgie de la boue out of my mind and focus on the present. After dinner, I make my way home, taking in the sights and sounds of the city as I go. I pass by a street performer playing the accordion, and stop to listen for a while. As I walk, I feel a sense of gratitude for all that Paris has to offer. This city has always had a special place in my heart, and I know that it always will. I finally arrive back at my apartment, tired but happy after a full day of exploring. I crawl into bed, already planning my next adventure in this beautiful city.